Okay, before we get into this list, I want to thank some people in the community who were able to help me with this list, namely Ninii Spangle was incredibly helpful. Please go follow his Twitter. I also had some of you guys on Twitter help me out with particular items. A handful of other content creators in this space helped out, people like Avataryaya, Makai Sayan, Max. I think Jaleel helped at some point, GriffinStation definitely helped. I'm sure I'm missing a couple people and I'm incredibly sorry about that. I want to thank every single one of them for being incredibly helpful. No one person I think could have put together this list independently. With that out of the way, I want to go over every item in the most recent creator character trailers. Let's start with the page from my nightmares. At the bottom of this page, we of course have Patel's footwear. Then we have the only item on this entire list that I and the rest of the community could not figure out. These shoes. God, I hate these shoes. I sat on piles upon piles of wiki pages for hours upon hours, and I could not find the source for these damn shoes. If you know, or perhaps maybe you could share the image with some friends, anybody knows these shoes, I would really appreciate you leaving a comment down in the comment section below and letting me know about it. I'll be sure to pin a comment if anybody matches up the shoes correctly. There were a couple different suggestions here and there, but none of them directly matched. And the final image on this page, again, kind of a bit of a controversial one, is what I think is Jotaro's shoes. I have no evidence to suggest that this is not Jotaro's shoes, so I'm going to assume that they are. It feels like a really good match, but it also feels like it's too good to be true. So do with that information as you will. With that out of the way, let's get into the rest of the list. Starting with page 2, we've got Goku's wristband. This theoretically could be Yusuke's wristband, but we're going to assume it's Goku's just because Vegeta is the following option as well. Of course, that's Vegeta's gloves. Right after that, we have Blackbeard's jewelry and Makoto's gloves. On page 3, we've got some hairstyles, so these are usually pretty fun. We've got Deku, Patal, Ryuk, Yuno, Killua, Kuwabara, Kairaku, Kisuke, Chrollo, Trunks, and Hercule. Some interesting references on that list. I'm pretty surprised by Yuno's inclusion, to be honest. Very happy to see that. On the next page, we have Goku's gi, Trunks' jacket, and Piccolo's cloak. On page 5, we have Luffy, Boa, Sabo, and Naruto all being referenced respectively. Interesting that we have so many male options on the female creator character menu. I am assuming that's just because you want to add as much variety to the females as possible, or else you're just going to end up with a pretty stale customization system for the females, because of course there's very few females that they have to pull from. Bit of a tiny page here, but Rukia and Killua are both referenced. Page 7, we have Yusuke, Nami, Sakura, and Fasha. If we scroll down a little bit on the same page, we get Shayna and Mamiya both referenced. On another female page, we get Yoroichi from Bleach referenced. We get Patal from Hunter x Hunter, Genkai from Yu Yu Hakusho, and Kaoru from Rurouni Kenshin. I think it's interesting that Kaoru is the first character referenced from Rurouni Kenshin, outside of course the playable characters from Rurouni Kenshin. Moving on to our next page, we've got some hairstyles, which is nice. Again, we've got Shayna, Piccolo, Luffy, Blackbeard, Sabo, Ace, Naruto, Sakura, Renji, Yugi, and Asta. On page 11, we have Hisoka, Yusuke, Toguro, and Yugi. Back to some arm pieces. Of course, earlier on, we talked about Makoto already. We've got Sasuke, Seiya, and his golden cloth, and of course, Shiryu with the same thing. Oh, and if you scroll down a little bit, you also get Makoto's arm thing. I don't know how you would describe it. They're not gloves. The bandage is on his arm. Moving on to some boots, we of course got Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks. Scrolling down a little bit, we have Kenshiro and what is either Ichigo or Rukia. I've just gonna go ahead and mark this as Rukia for now. I don't think it particularly matters who we mark it as. It's Ichigo or Rukia. Oh, it's Ichigo and Rukia because these are two different pairs of boots. You can tell by the different camera angle on the two pairs of boots. So we're gonna, well, not boots, but footwear. We're gonna go ahead and just mark that each as two different references. But regardless, it's Ichigo and Rukia. Then we've got Gon and Killua. Moving on to some leg wear, we've got Naruto, Sasuke, and Gaara. And then a last minute change, I originally had this down as the City Hunter character, but now I've changed it to Toguro, because I do believe it is Toguro. Next up, we've got Killua's shorts, Marik's jeans, and the City Hunter character's jeans. Now, this next page is slightly controversial. At least we've got one slightly controversial thing, and that's Boruto's sandals. Now, it's possible I'm wrong about this one, but I couldn't find another character that matched these specific sandals. And of course, they're not the right color, but of course, we've seen thousands of different color variants. Well, not thousands, but you get my point. Also, if you look at the Boruto manga and of course this pair of sandals, it's difficult to really argue the point. They look pretty spot on, obviously minus the color. So I'm just going to go ahead and assume that these are Boruto sandals. Interesting to see that Boruto is referenced in the creator character menu. Then we move on to Seiya and his golden cloth form, and the same thing for Shiryu. Then we've got Ryo's shoes, the City Hunter character, Kenshiro and his boots, and of course Ichigo's weird excuse for shoes. It took a minute to convince me. I required some persuading, but eventually I was convinced that these are Saya's kind of short/skirt thing that he has going on. Listen, Saya wears some weird things, okay? The top row is of course all Saya's, and then his golden cloth form, and the same thing can be said for the next part, which is Shiryu's, and then his golden cloth form, and then we've got Togoro's jeans and Kenshiro's jeans. Moving on to some face markings, and we're gonna go through these pretty rapid fire. We've got Vegeta, Tien, Hiei, Sakura, Julius, and Fugolion from Black Clover, Heart, Club, Spade, Diamond, all from Fist of the North Star, Koinma from Yu Yu Hakusho, and Marek from Yu-Gi-Oh! Back to some more items. We have Ichigo's Horn of Salvation, we've got Patao's ears twice, Togoro's glasses, then we've got Frankie's glasses, which are in fact different from Togoro's glasses, of course. And this one I'm not quite sure about. This is, again, one of the few contentious ones on this list. Currently, we have it marked down as Mars/Sensui. If I had to pick one, I would say it's Mars, but I'm not sure. Mars's diamonds, Mars being the character from Black Clover, are split up into 3 different parts. In this item, at least what we can tell so far from the low resolution image is that it's just kind of one vertical line. But I also don't think it can be Sensui's because Sensui's is quite small, where this item appears to be quite large. Again, if I had to pick either character, I would definitely lean much more towards Mars. Although we might have missed a character, there might be a character that more closely matches this. I'm really hoping you guys know what character this is. Again, most of the group I was trying to figure this out with assumed it was Mars. I'm not so convinced of that, but we'll wait and see, I guess. Hopefully one of you guys have a better suggestion, because again, I just don't think it's Mars. Then we have Marek's earrings. Then we've got Yagyu's eye patch. You may look at the eye patch and think, well, it could be anyone's eye patch, but in anime, oftentimes characters with eye patches have very unique designs on them. They'll have multiple straps or something like that. It will be a box eye patch or something like that, but this is a very generic looking eye patch, and one of the few anime characters that actually, one of the few Weekly Shonen Jump characters, I should say, that actually wears a fairly generic eye patch is Yagyu, and I couldn't find any other character that matched that very specifically basic eye patch design. Maybe you have another answer, but I'm pretty sure it's Yagyu. Then obviously we have Luffy and Sabo, and if we scroll down a little bit, we also get to see Gaara's gourd and Naruto's sage scroll, and then of course the City Hunter characters RPG. Alright, back to some facial features, this time with some scar markings. We have Yamcha, Luffy, Kakashi, Smoker, although I'm not 100% sure about Smoker. I'm currently assuming it's Smoker just because it's the closest match, although the in-game version doesn't actually go across his eyebrow like it does with the actual character. Shanks, Sabo, Crocodile, Mello from Death Note, Magna from Black Clover, Kenshin, Midora from Toriko, the only Toriko reference I could find, Kobe from One Piece. Kobe's a little bit weird because his scar appears to move throughout the series, but we're assuming it's Kobe because it's the closest match. Kaio from Fist of the North Star. We've got some more face markings with Naruto, Boruto, Gaara, Dark Magician Girl, Kayoko Jiro from My Hero Academia, which is awesome to see. I'm really glad that we got another My Hero Academia semi-representation. It's worth noting that Dark Magician Girl might not necessarily be Dark Magician Girl. It could theoretically be Uraraka, because everything on this page is actually in order by franchise, other than Sage Mode Naruto, which he's breaking the pattern for no reason. I don't know why he's trying to do that. It's really rude of him. Regardless, let's continue. We've got Kisame, Gordon from Black Clover, Naruto, Padla, and Larholt is gonna be how I choose to pronounce that, both from the Dragon Quest manga, Rinku, Chu Suzuki, and Ryzen, all from Yu Yu Hakusho, and of course, Hisoka. Oh, and I just want to quickly make a point about whether items confirm a character or not for the main roster, or whether they're even evidence of it, and I don't think they are. For example, here is a picture of literally all the new characters who aren't currently on the Jump Force roster that are referenced in the creator character system. This right here is a lot of characters. That being said, I think if a character has a lot of multiple items in the game, specific types of items as well, that probably is evidence to suggest that they are in the game. For example, just based on the type of items that Sakura has in game and how many she has, I think Sakura is a pretty likely pick. And in all honesty, I think my prediction for Gaara is looking even stronger when you consider how many references there are to him in the avatar system. But for example, I don't think Uraraka or Jiro or Mello or any of these characters are going to be playable just because they're referenced once in the creator character system. And for those holding out hope for Patao, I mean, look at that. She's got 4 different items in the game. Granted, 2 of those are the same earpiece, I think. I don't actually remember because I counted my spreadsheet. I don't remember how I counted it. And that's it. We managed to make it all the way through all of these references. And wow, that was a long video. I don't know how long it's going to turn out to be once it's all said and edited, but it took me 20 minutes to record, so I'm sure it's going to be a whole lot of editing for me. So I would very much appreciate a like on this video. This type of video takes much longer than your average video, not only the editing and the recording and all that other stuff, but actually figuring all of this stuff out. Even with a group effort, like I said at the start of the video, I had a ton of help from a bunch of people. Specifically, Ninii Spangle and GriffinStation were very helpful. Even with all the help that I did get though, this took a long time. So please go support the people who helped me out. And of course, a like on this video would be much appreciated. If you know the source of these boots, please let me know. I want to know so bad at this point. Not even for a video anymore. I just need to know where these boots come from. On top of that, if you have a better suggestion for the Mars item, that would be much appreciated as well, because we couldn't figure that out. And again, our closest bet is Mars, but I'm not convinced of it. Subscribe to keep up to date with future content. My name has been Bilbzy, and I will see you in the next video.